So, anyone who's followed me on YouTube for any length of time will know that I'm more obsessed with the Resident Evil series than a grown man has any right to be, and I've got a particular fondness for the PS1 original, with all its hammy acting and tank controls and B-movie horror aspirations. Along with Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy VII, it was a game that came along at just the right formative time in my life and completely changed my perception of what video games could be. Truly, what a time to be alive. Now, a while back I was lucky enough to be able to interview some of the original live-action cast members, courtesy of the fine gentlemen at the Residents of Evil channel, who had worked hard to bring them back into the fold over the years. And it's funny because most of them had no idea that Resident Evil was even a thing, and were pleasantly surprised to learn they'd actually become minor internet celebrities over the years. They've all given interviews about their experiences making the game, and even started appearing at Comic-Cons and taking part in fan projects like the Keeper's Diary. That's been great and all, but the one person that nobody has ever been able to track down is Inezh, the young woman who played the very first incarnation of Jill Valentine way back in 1996. She was like the unicorn of the Resident Evil fan community, man. Nobody could find her and nobody knew much about her. Who was this girl? Where did she come from? How did she find herself appearing in a Japanese survival horror game? And more importantly, what the hell has she been doing for the past 30 years? The internet being what it is, all kinds of conjectures, myths, and wild conspiracy theories began to spring up around the mystery of Inezh. Some people were convinced that she was out there just waiting to be found, blissfully unaware that an entire fandom was eager to hear from her. Others thought that she was dead, or a recluse, or so embarrassed by her appearance in the game that she didn't want anyone to ever know about it. For quite a while, there was even a persistent rumour that she was actually Irish actress Una Kavanagh. There was a whole bunch of theories and very few facts. The only thing we knew for sure was that she'd never once come forward and spoken out about her experiences. I say, old boy, I smell a challenge in the air. And so, I drunkenly declared that somehow, some way, I, the critical drinker, was gonna find the original Jill Valentine and bring her back into the folds. Now that was a great plan in theory, but it turns out that finding an obscure actress whose only known credits are a few low-resolution cutscenes from a 30-year-old video game with nothing to go on except her first name is a little more tricky than you might think. I mean, where the hell do you even begin with something like that? Well, as it happens, a few dedicated individuals had actually done most of the work for me already, which was great because I hate doing work, which is why I'm a YouTuber. The same people who had managed to track down the actors for Chris, Wesker, Barry, and Rebecca had also painstakingly followed a trail of decades-old breadcrumbs that ultimately led them to Inezh. After reaching out to them through a mutual friend, they turned out to be amazingly helpful and generous with the information they dug up. Now, I'm not going to share too much of it here out of respect for the work they'd done and the privacy of the people involved, but I can at least confirm a few basic things. Yes, Inezh is alive and well. Yes, I know what she looks like these days, and damn, I was actually pretty surprised by how little she's changed in the past 30 years. I mean, she's a little older now, obviously, but she's still very recognisably the same actress, to the point where there was no doubt left in my mind that I was looking at the same person. And yes, she is aware of the Resident Evil games and the people that have been trying to find her. Which brings me to the first big bump in the road. See, the same people that had tracked her down had managed to make contact with her a couple of years earlier, and although she wasn't exactly super keen, she'd agreed to answer some interview questions about her experiences. All good, you might think, until she abruptly backed out at the 11th hour and cut all contact with them. Not good news, but not entirely a lost cause either, because they were able to give me the contact details for Inez's former talent agent, who was apparently still able to reach her. Yeah, she'd definitely proven a tough nut to crack so far, but at least I had a lead to go on now. And maybe, with the right amount of persuasion and incentive, I could finally get this one across the finish line. Maybe I, the drinker, could fulfill my drunken promise and finally bring Inezh back in from the colds. So yeah, that one didn't really work out. After trying several times to reach out to her agent and organise some kind of interview, using every incentive and format option that I could think of, it soon became obvious that it just wasn't gonna happen. Every attempt at making contact was rebuffed, and every suggestion or financial incentive was rejected out of hand. It pains me to say this because it's not the news I'd hoped to deliver, but my quest had ended in failure. Inezh is not going to do an interview, now or probably ever. And the thing is, I don't really blame her. She's not involved in the industry now. She's got no aspirations to be famous or make convention appearances or any of that other stuff. She probably just doesn't need the hassle or the attention or the possibility of some weird internet stalker coming after her. The reality is that she's not obligated to do anything for the Resident Evil fans at this point. And honestly, even if she was up for doing an interview, she'd be trying to dredge up memories of some gig that she worked on for a few days almost 30 years ago, and by all accounts wasn't a very positive experience for her. Considering how much the other cast members have already revealed, I kind of doubt that she'd be able to tell the fans anything they don't already know anyway. All of this is my way of saying that the mystery of Inezh might not have ended the way we'd hoped, but it's ultimately been solved anyway because, well, there never really was a mystery to begin with. She's not in hiding, she's not some crazy recluse or a successful actor trying to hide a shameful chapter from the early days of her career. She's just a regular person living a normal life now, who did a minor acting gig 30 years ago, probably because it sounded like fun at the time, with no idea of where it was gonna lead, and who doesn't want or need the attention now. And you know what? That's okay. Not every journey ends the way you think it should. Yeah, I'm disappointed that I couldn't deliver a better result for you guys, but I gave it my best shot, and that's all that anyone can really do. And I think that maybe it's time for us to let Inezh go away now.